Mr. Lansley seemed to have no depths that he'd stoop to, no deprivation that he wouldn't commit. Let me tell you about this man. Let me tell you about Mr. Lansley, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Lansley took £21,000 from John Nash, the chairman of Health UK, put it in his own back pocket, straight in his own back pocket. And in return, he appointed Health UK the biggest beneficiaries of the privatisation of our NHS that Mr. Lansley is carrying out today. And what else did Mr. Lansley do? What else did this wicked and evil man do? He conned money out of Parliament to pay for the renovation of his country cottage. He conned money out of Parliament to pay to do up his house, a house which he then sold at a massive profit. But that's not all he did. Ladies and gentlemen, in his role as Health Secretary, he had to appoint a commission to advise on obesity. He had to appoint a commission to advise. And who did he appoint to chair that commission? I'll tell you who Mr. Lansley appointed to chair the commission on obesity. Mr. Lansley appointed McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken to advise the government on obesity. So, ladies and gentlemen, in his pursuit of wealth, in his pursuit of greed, there was no depth that Mr. Lansley wouldn't stoop to. No depth that he wouldn't stoop to. But Mr. Lansley, although his heart was black and rotten, Mr. Lansley did have a love in his life. Mr. Lansley loved his pets. He loved his little lackeys. He loved the little goblins that we call the bankers. There we have him, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Lansley petting his most beloved thing in the world. Mr. Lansley petting his bankers. Isn't it sweet, ladies and gentlemen? Isn't it heartwarming? Now, Mr. Lansley fed his pets. He fed them on the only food that they could eat. He fed them on money, ladies and gentlemen. Your money. Mr. Lansley took your money and fed it to his bankers. But the bankers were very hungry. The bankers were very greedy. They needed bigger and bigger bonuses. They needed more and more money. They needed greater and greater bailouts. And the more Lansley fed his bankers, the hungrier they became. And the country was skint. And the larder was running dry. So Mr. Lansley worried. Mr. Lansley worried, how can I feed my bankers? How can I give them bailouts? How can I ensure that they get their bonuses? Mr. Lansley was concerned. Mr. Lansley sat and thought. Mr. Lansley sat and thought in worry, in concern. And in his deep dark palace in Whitehall, Mr. Lansley came out with a dastardly idea, a diabolical plan to take your money and feed it to his bankers. He called it liberating the NHS. Mr. Lansley set out to liberate the NHS. Only he got the wording a little bit wrong. What he should have written was plundering the NHS. Mr. Lansley said, let's privatise the NHS, sell it off to companies owned by the banks so that they can rake in the profits. Let's make the people of the country pay when they become ill so that the companies can rake in more profits and the banks can receive more and more. Let's deprive the people of the health care that they need in a just and equitable society. Mr. Lansley said, sod the people. Mr. Lansley said the people don't matter. All that matters in this world is Mr. Lansley's bankers, their bonuses and their bailouts. If you're sick, take comfort from the fact that your lack of treatment is paying for the lavish lifestyles of Mr. Lansley and his bankers. Mr. Lansley liberated the NHS. He liberated a lot of money out of the NHS, and Mr. Lansley gave your money to his bankers. And so it was. The NHS was plundered. Now, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I have a stethoscope and a white coat. Lansley.